Energy company advertisements aside, I think we all understand that coal is kind of bad for your health. Well, it turns out it's also radioactive, which is cool. And coal ash, the byproduct you get when you burn coal, is even more toxic than that. A new study is actually showing how widespread the potential danger is. Radioactive elements are present in both coal and coal ash from all three major coal basins, the Illinois, Appalachian, and Powder River basins. The levels of radioactivity in the coal ash were also up to 5 times higher than levels in normal soil and up to 10 times higher than in the parent coal itself. And the radioactivity is, of course, that's the interesting new news. It hadn't previously been measured in this way, but you don't even need to go to the radioactivity to see how dangerous coal ash and coal actually is. Along with toxic contaminants like arsenic, selenium, and mercury, coal contains naturally occurring radioactive elements like uranium and thorium, which, when they decay, form chemical byproducts like radium. Toxic contaminants have been of the most concern to those monitoring coal ash disposal sites. Disposal sites aren't monitored for radioactivity. Another reason that these sorts of studies are so important. It might be that there are regulations to look into some sorts of known contaminants or toxins in things like coal and coal ash, but there's other sorts of potential dangers that we may not even know are currently there. And it turns out that when you burn the coal and you get the coal ash, it concentrates the potential contaminants, both of the toxic and radioactive varieties, causing 2 potential problems either here or around the world. And the first has to do with the fact that a lot of this concentrated byproduct can become airborne easily. The particles are so small. And U.S. power plants have smokestack scrubbers that keep fly ash particles out of the air. But for places like China, where residents are exposed to high levels of coal ash in the air, the radioactivity of the coal ash could pose a threat to public health, because you can actually breathe in the particles that then become lodged inside of your body, continuing to produce radioactive byproducts. But here in the United States, we have our own problems as well. The ash is often dumped into ditches, sometimes unlined, where it can easily come into direct contact with the environment. Under the EPA's forthcoming regulations, all new coal ash pits must be lined, but existing pits only need to be cleaned up when they've been shown to be actively polluting the environment, and access to those is unlikely in a lot of cases. And while companies must monitor levels of contaminants in coal ash ponds and nearby groundwater, they aren't required to monitor radioactivity. So again, this is why this is so important, is that they are being put in these unlined pits in a lot of cases. They're going to continue to be for a very long time, and that then can seep into the outlying areas. But really, like maybe I'm being too hard. Why should we care so much about coal ash? I mean, after all, it's only the second largest form of waste generated in the United States. And we find out that it is actually radioactive. And look, at a time when one party's presidential nominees are almost unanimous in their desire to destroy the EPA, the federal body providing the limited regulations on coal ash that we currently have, and when Republicans in the House back in July passed a bill that would allow coal companies to dispose of coal ash by dumping it into water resources, I think it's clear that at this point what we need is some radioactivism. And that's my final judgment.